to the Queen's Comic Podcast. I'm Billy Bombs.
I'm Ian.
And welcome to our new episode. This one is more of us just talking about comics that we've gotten literally in the last 2 days.
Yeah. Let's, you want to start with Bootleg Spider-Man?
Yeah, what's Bootleg Spider-Man? You just handed it to me check it out.
So full credit where credit is due. I didn't know about Bootleg Spider-Man until it was featured on Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Oh, okay.
And they did a pretty cool episode on it about 2 weeks ago. After seeing it, I was like, I have to have this. Unfortunately, it is now out of print and probably not ever going to be reprinted, given that it is literally a Bootleg Spider-Man comic. So it's done by a guy named Madi Kene. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's at superherocomics.com. Superhero with a Z, not an S. This book was done in November of 2022, so it's pretty recent. And the story is called The Return of the Goblin. It's bonkers. In a nutshell, the story is Spidey comes home. Mary Jane is morbidly obese and needs food, so she sends him back out to Burger King. He comes back with some more food. He wants to get it on, takes his mask off, and he's become a literal spider, and she refuses to have sex with him without his mask on. So he puts his mask on. One thing leads to another. He goes back outside to fight crime. He's looking for the Green Goblin. Eventually tracks down the Green Goblin, blows the Green Goblin's head off, and then comes home, and Mary Jane at that point is willing to sleep with him without the mask on, because he's the hero. So flip through that. Tell me what you think of it. The art is fantastic. This guy's got mad skills. The Ditko influence is absolutely there. And I think the McFarlane influence is there too. The way that Spidey's all kind of curled up in get a lot of those crazy positions that McFarlane made popular with the character.
This is hilarious.
It's wild, yeah. It's really funny. The artwork is great. I want more from this guy. I bought a couple of his other comics that we'll talk about on maybe another episode. I didn't bring them with me this time. But After seeing this, I was like, I want some more of his work, so I grabbed a few more.
I have a feeling we're going to see this guy at St. Mark's Comics for their April show. It's all indie artists. So
is it?
You never know. Yeah, it's all surprise guests. You're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
This is pretty good artwork. I like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It reminds me of Barkira. Do you have Barkira?
Yes. The Simpsons Akira parody.
Yeah, it's right. I just found it while going through the magazines. So here, if you want to flip through it, I'll tell you the story of this one because I think this one might be exactly similar. It started off as an internet comic between a bunch of artist friends who just kept writing the story, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And like Spider-Man, like this one's definitely something you're gonna get sued for.
Yeah.
This one is two different IPs owned by two different companies, and they sued them at the same time. But this one started off as an internet comic, and then it spiraled into this. There's a really good hardcover version called the Barkira, the Nuclear Edition. And if you ever find that, it's like hundreds of dollars. I got this from the local comic book store in Union Square for cover price of $15.
This is amazing.
Yeah, all it is just a joke between friends that just kept spinning out of control.
I've never seen a physical copy of it before. I've heard about it before, and I've seen pages from it before online, but I've never, to hold it in my hand is, kind of a big deal right now. This is so cool.
Yeah, if I find another one, it's yours.
Yeah, that would be
because
great.
I love finding stuff like this. It's like this Bootleg Spider-Man. Yeah. This is amazing to me. Because one, you know how hard it is to draw webs.
Yeah.
And you see
make him look good.
And he has detailed on the face and everything. We're going to take photos and post it on the Instagram, but gee whiz. And then Mary Jane looks great.
She does. The face, as soon as you see that close-up of the face, you're like, wow,
exactly
she's foxier than ever. And then when it pulls back, you're like, whoa, what happened?
I love when people take, these characters are supposed to be reaching their IP, limit on how long you can own it, like original Dracula and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What do they call that when they run out of time?
The copyright.
Copyright, yeah. So, people are going to make bootlegs of that. Like, in Europe, the best comic book out there is Conan, because the copyright expired, 10 years ago. But in America, I think there's another 15 years on it.
And so some of those European books, I think, are being reprinted in the States as the Sumerian.
I'm dying to read them.
Yeah, I've got a couple issues. They're cool. I mean, I've been reading them piecemeal, so I don't know, what the continuity is. But, I've grabbed a few of them from dollar bins here and there. They're worth it just for the artwork.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to check it out. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good.
This week, because of last week's trip to Roger's Time Machine, I also have the poster of Roger's Time Machine. It's in the basement.
Oh, that's cool.
I gotta frame it.
Yeah.
Since 1983, he's had an established store called Time Machine. I'm 1 year longer than I've been established as a human. But the other stuff is we picked up a lot of indie books. Today was yesterday we went out to Cosmic-Con. I like Cosmic-Con because it's in Flushing. There's not much out there, but it's in a place called Tangram Mall, which is also I think Tangram means puzzle. So it kind of threw me off for a bit. So I was happy just to walk around. I had fun. I got some good issues. But there was a guy who invented something new called sidekicks. And what it is for your long box or short boxes to hold back your books with this hard plastic with a logo called sidekicks. I think the sticker's in here somewhere, but I have it in the storage room. It's on our Instagram. If you're interested in it, check it out because I think it's a great way as a seller to have your books stacked up until you fill up more books, or to just as a collection that you don't have enough books filled and they don't fall over.
Okay.
Because it's like a pattern where it hooks onto the side of the box and goes straight down, but it's exactly the full size of a book.
Oh, that's it.
And it's hard plastic. And so I was like, oh, let me get a couple of them. It's for me as a seller, it's perfect. Because then I can put out my books. If it starts going down, I don't have to keep moving books around. I just slide it back so it doesn't start doing damage to the other property.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just usually use like balled up paper or something.
Yeah. I used to use the boxes I got from Funkos. Like people would give me those Funko boxes, and I was like I ran out of boxes. But it's a cool new invention. It's on Instagram called Sidekicks. It's a comic book divider box. Something new that every time somebody comes out with a new patent or something cool, I try and check it out. Last time I bought anything new, and those guys stopped making frames.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on the last episode.
Yeah, so this is like cool to see somebody having books. He gave me a great deal on some comics yesterday, so I got like John Romita's last run on Wolverine with Mark Millar. I got them all for $1.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, and it has the Nick Fury famous cover on there. I got a couple of covers of Mike Mayhew's She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture of those. Yeah, those are nice books.
Yeah, I had fun with them. I love comic shops. I love guys who are just like, I'm bringing books just to advertise my stuff. Other vendors were fun. Our friend Calamity was there. He was like they gave me a 3-day pass thinking I was like Calamity's brother. I was like, no, I'm not with the guy. I was like, I gave it back because let them make their money at the door for that one.
Right.
But it's gonna have a lot of kid stuff today on Saturday, so that's gonna be cool.
Right.
Where'd you go today? You said you went out to the island.
I drove out to Long Island. I went to Calm Comics in Hicksville. It was about a half hour for me because there was no traffic. So if you leave at 8:15 in the morning, there isn't much traffic on a Saturday. It's a good store. It's a small store. They're open weird hours. They do a lot of shows, and I think they do a lot on whatnot on eBay. So the store is kind of like almost an afterthought for them. It seems. It's in like a basement of a strip mall in Hicksville. So like you could drive by it and not know it's there because there's not a lot of signage and stuff. But the guy who was running the place, who was out there today, his name was Lou. He was a good guy. Gave me all the dollar bins stuff for half price. There were boxes of keys there for half price, and he did the $5 books for $2 each. So I left with like 70 books.
Hey, you gave me a W Mason box.
Yep, exactly.
So like, I was like, what the heck? I was like, what's up with all the paper? And you're like, it's comics.
But that Richard Corbin solo book.
That one I love because is that a mashup of the monster from of Starro the Conqueror and of the mutant from Batman Dark Knight Returns?
I don't know what it is. It's just
I can't wait to read it. Like,
yeah.
Like that's next on my list. And you gave me the Richard Corbin Topps book.
Yeah. The listeners can't see it, but I found a copy of Ray Bradbury comics from Topps with a Corbin story and an Al Williamson story in it, and then the DC Richard Corbin solo book, and I gave him to Billy because I can't leave Corbin stuff when I see it cheap.
No, you can't. You can't. His work is too good.
Yeah, and I already had those, so gotta share the love.
Oh, hell yeah. So what'd you get for yourself that you really liked?
Okay, so probably the coolest score.
We jumped right into it.
We did.
Because we have I think we have a few hundred books to go over, all of us right now.
There's a lot. So most of what I pulled out was stuff from the dollar bin, but the one that I did get, the key that I got for half price, was the Faust 1990 tour book.
Which is so cool. Signed to at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a signed limited edition, signed by David Quinn and Tim Vigil, 1,900 pieces. This is number 27? 24. Number 24 out of 1,900. So it's pretty cool. It's issue number 6 of the series, but with an additional, like a new black and white wraparound cover on it. So if you flip open the first cover, you see the second cover.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same comic inside. There's no difference inside. But to get the wraparound cover with the numbers and the signatures on it, you know, as a Faust fan, that was a nice piece to get. Yeah, it's I mean, Vigil's pencils are so tight on it, and the inking is so tight on it, and it's just like, look at the detail. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the skeleton crew in the bottom.
Mm-hmm. They just completed their Kickstarter for the hardcover collection.
That's awesome.
So it's
I hope they put out more than just what's on the Kickstarter. I always miss on those.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll probably do like a regular edition, but the Kickstarter version, which I did contribute to, is going to be a signed and numbered hardcover.
That's dope.
And then when that's done, I suspect, since they've done all that work, they'll probably do a standard press.
That's awesome.
I think. I don't want to say for sure, but I suspect that's what'll happen.
Well, the thing is, though, it seems like guys who really love comics, they just want their stuff in people's hands. So that's a good indicator of how much you put out and how much feedback you get later on. Like, I still have an Earthworm Jim, like, trade paperback of all the guys' work, but because he's, like, far-right radical or whatever now, people don't mess with him, and I was like, oh, that's why you're not getting new viewers. But if you're a hardcore comic book fan, people just want the comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a cool one. What's that one?
So another one I picked up, Skull number 4. It's a Lovecraft issue, and from 1972, and it's Last Gasp. So it's an underground book. Speaking of undergrounds, before I forget, one of our listeners, a friend of mine named Newt, Newt says we should cover at least one underground every episode. So,
I'm down with that.
Bit of listener feedback there. So I guess this will be the underground. If Faust didn't count, Faust totally counts. But if Faust didn't count, this counts. So this is Skull Comics number 4, 1972, Last Gasp Press. The all Lovecraft special issue. Notice the use of the EC Comics logo on the coffin on the cover. They're not subtle about where their influences are coming from. The first story in the book is by Dave Sherman, and it's just titled "The Hound."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a looks like a kind of a grave robbing story. Great black and white art, really cartoonish and exaggerated, and as gory as you would want it to be. There's a pinup called Night Toad by S. Deach. I don't know who S. Deach is, but it's a neat spot. It's kind of like a weird, I don't know, night toad. It's a night toad.
But your friend Newt is 100% right on a couple of things, because we're totally going to do at least one, but we're so into like indie comics that we're going to be talking about like 10 at a time. And we keep looking for more.
Oh, yeah. No, it does not have to limit it to one, but...
No, but it made me laugh because it was like, here's the thing. If there's a great artist out there with more stuff, I want to see his stuff. I want to get more of their stuff. I don't want it to be just 8-Ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, which I found a bunch the other day as well, if you're missing any.
Yeah, I'm missing all of them, actually.
So later when we go to the storage, you can grab them from downstairs.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, the rest of it, like I said, it's all Lovecraft adaptations. So Gilbert Sherritt Jackson, that's whose name I was missing on. Jackson does a story in here, too, and it's pretty wild. Problem with the underground stuff is it gets tough to find.
Well, yeah, but when you told me the other day about... St. Mark's Comics getting them.
He's got a bunch.
I went there and I almost bought the Love and Rockets number 1 just to have it.
I saw it there, yeah.
And they had another American Splendor for $10, which I just realized. Where's my missing American Splendor book?
There's a book right behind you.
No, not the trades. I bought one single issue of the trade of issue number like 11
of the magazine.
Of the magazine,
yeah.
I found it from Better Read Than Dead, and I'm like, where'd I put it? I have way too much crap in this room.
Yeah. At any rate, Jackson's story is the last one, and it's an adaptation of Pickman's model. The famous Lovecraft story. I don't know what else to say. It's good. The werewolf was fantastic.
The cover is amazing.
Yeah, it's just really cool artwork.
What year is this one? Like 88?
74.
74?
Yeah. I don't know who did the back cover, but there's a rather curvaceous naked lady surrounded by demons bound to a bed. So
I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's not subtle.
the cover I've seen tattooed on somebody.
Really?
That's why I was like, oh, it's gotta be from the 80s. You said 74.
The cover was Jackson.
Yeah, but this character is from there.
So you recognize that cover because you saw it like literally drawn
tattooed on somebody's arm.
That's wild.
Like some metal dude's arm or something. Because I was like, oh, I know that symbol.
That's very cool.
And most of the stuff came from what, like New York and San Francisco.
Most of it's San Francisco.
Yeah. But New York always had publishers selling it. Mm-hmm. And that's the cool part.
Anywhere, like mostly big cities where there were head shops.
Yes.
Because it was before, they weren't going to be sold on the newsstands, and it was before there were a lot of comic stores. So head shops is where most of that stuff found distribution. So that's where, Zap was in head shops.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Isn't it the dream for us to find an old head shop with a bunch of comics in there?
That would be amazing. What else do I have in this box here?
Dude, you got a magic box.
Got a magic box. I'm just going to grab a stack.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing number 64, which is the last Alan Moore issue.
I didn't even know that went up that high.
Yeah, it did. It's his final run, or final book in the run. Die Hard Year 1, number 1. I bought it because I didn't know there was a Die Hard comic.
Me neither. That's amazing. Is this told from Han's perspective?
I haven't read it yet. I just bought it 2 hours ago. I've been driving since I bought it. There's Nothing Here, number 1 from Black Mask. I bought it based on the cover.
Nice. I like Black Mask. They put out like some great stuff.
Yeah, Patrick Kindlin is the writer. Maria Lovett is the artist. I'm assuming she did the cover. The cover is fantastic. I love the use of color in it. It's a woman sitting in front of a stained glass window. Actually, I think it's just a regular window, lit by candles in kind of a negligee with a bunch of eyeballs peering at her through the window. It's creepy. It's sexy. It's suggestive. It's odd. I don't know. No idea what's going on in this book. I haven't even flipped through it yet, but I bought it based on the cover.
Nice.
Incredible Hulk 347, the first Joe Fix-It. It's a beater copy, but I already have one, but I can leave it there for 50 cents. I got Adventure with the Brothers by Al Hartley, which is a Spire Christian comic. So, from probably the late 70s, early 80s. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh my god, is this like them fighting like a South American country, like dictators?
I have no idea. I haven't.
Oh my god, what a weird cover.
Let's open it up.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, what's up with the general over here?
I like the Spire comics. When I was a little kid, my grandparents were very religious. They didn't want me reading Batman and Daredevil and stuff like that. So they knew I loved comics, so they would get Spire comics for me. That's awesome. I still have a bunch of the Archies and Johnny Cash one and stuff. So yeah, I don't know who these brothers are, but the rebels have captured another village. We're next. So Pete and Tom, who are the two brothers, have to take their mother to safety. And yeah, they take her into the jungle, avoid some crocodiles, and then they get chased down by like some South American dictator type guy. You pretty much called it.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of fighting.
They're really hitting it on the Mormon thing over here.
There's probably going to be somebody's going to come to the Lord before the end of the issue. So that's what always happens in these ones. Looks like Archie, doesn't it? Yeah. That artwork there.
No, but that's what threw me off.
Yeah.
Today was a lot of Archie as well. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I went to, people had boxes and boxes of the digest.
There's a great kind of half splash page here with the main dictator guy. Looks like a firework flies at him and shoots between his legs and knocks him on his butt.
That's awesome.
And then at the end, the brothers go hang gliding.
You gotta love these comics.
Yep, and at the end, if you don't know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, why not pray right now and ask him to bring his peace and love into your life? So there you go.
That's awesome.
Yep. Fun stuff. I got, what else did I get? Batman 608, first chapter of Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee.
I love that year of comics. Mm-hmm. That was like a good comeback for a lot of people because Jim Lee came out with Jeff Loeb's artwork. Jeff Loeb was the writer and Jim Lee was the artist. But then after that, he did a Brian Azzarello run of Superman. And it was like a great year for DC to be back on top for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a good. The Hush storyline's a good one too. I'm not huge on Jim Lee's artwork, but I really like it in this run.
Likewise,
it's a beat up copy, but again, it was 50 cents.
Well, you want to know something real quick? Oh, what's crazy about this? That they came out with a Daily News copy of this issue as a freebie if you bought the Daily News of New York, NY Daily News.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then I think LA and other states had it. Oh no, I'm lying. New York Post.
Okay.
New York Post. But other newspapers were giving away this issue to bring in young readers to read the newspaper.
That's cool. Daredevil, Man Without Fear, #1. Frank Miller, John Romita. Don't probably need to explain that to anybody. It's Daredevil's origin story.
Yeah, I can't. That's going to be in the new Epic collection.
Okay.
And I'm very excited by that because this is the best 6 issues for a lot of people.
It's really strong.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's best writing.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. Destructor #2 from Atlas Comics.
Oh my god.
Always buy Atlas stuff when I see it cheap because you never know who's on the art credits. So I'm going to open this up and it's Steve Ditko. So that was 50 cents well spent right there.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is a lot of these speculators are buying Atlas books because they're like people are buying up the IPs. Mm-hmm. And I had never heard of it in all my years of reading comics.
No?
Never heard of it until I started seeing people speculating about
I also got Atlas Comics Savage Combat Tales #3 featuring Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad.
What a great name!
Yeah, it's Al McWilliams. I don't know him.
Still cool. Cool.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like each of the Atlas series didn't last more than a handful of issues. I don't think any of them ran past 4 issues. So you could put like a run of Atlas comics together fairly easily and fairly affordably, which is sort of low key what I'm doing here. Yeah. I have a lot of the better ones. They're starting to be.
But who's putting it together?
Oh, you mean collected as in reprinted?
No, as like a trade paperback.
Yeah. No, you're right. They're not. Yeah, I thought you meant they weren't collected by people.
No. Yeah, fans want to finish sets. Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of those like, this one's weird, let me try.
That's where I'm at, yeah. Like I said, it's like you'll find weird stuff. Like in an issue of Atlas Comics Morlock 2001, you'll see Steve Ditko inked by Bernie Wrightson.
Wow.
Yeah. But because these series didn't last more than like 4 issues, you can put them together.
Yeah.
Pretty easily and sometimes fairly cheaply.
They sound like it because a lot of people don't know what they have, or if they do, they want too much for it, so you're like, I'll skip.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them mint.
No, they're always beat up.
Yeah, I've never seen a mint copy of that.
They're always beat up. Moving right along, Eternity Comics Puppet Master 4, based on the movie.
I love that. Is that Now Comics or full?
It's Eternity.
Eternity?
Yep. And then I got Future State, Wonder Woman #1, because I like Joelle Jones's art, and it's the first appearance of, what's her name? Wonder Girl. The new Wonder Girl.
The one from Brazil,
Yeah,
Arizona.
Yara Flor. It says there right on the cover. I'm not even looking at it. Yeah, it's her first appearance, I believe.
Hopefully those go far because I do like some of his Future State books.
I bought it on the strength of Joelle Jones's art. I like Joelle Jones's art a lot. I got into her from Lady Killer through Dark Horse, which came out
I remember
8 years ago or so.
Was it Tony Harris too with him on Lady Killer? Or is that another book? I might be thinking of something else.
That was a different book, yeah.
Yeah, because there's another one where it has like Joe Quesada's doing artwork for him, where it's like somebody with bandages, not Painkiller, but it's something with a similar name like
Painkiller Jane.
Painkiller Jane.
Yeah.
But there's something similar from Harris Comics. Maybe that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah, you might be. But yeah, Lady Killer was really cool. It's a story of like a 50s housewife who's actually an assassin on the side.
That's nice.
It's really good. I got RoboCop versus Terminator #1 of 4 from Dark Horse with the little RoboCop standee still inside.
That's amazing. I did not know they came with a standee.
It came with a standee, yeah.
I'm a fanatic for RoboCop. I bought a RoboCop comic over the weekend too.
Did you? Nice. Let's get to that. So,
yeah, sorry.
Frank Miller wrote it. Walt Simonson drew it for 50 cents. I already had it, but at least actually I don't have this one. I have 2, 3, and 4, so I think this completes the set for me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good trade if you get it. It only comes in hardcover.
Mm-hmm. Bought a Roots of the Swamp Thing #3. Bernie Wrightson, Len Wein reprints. Don't leave Wrightson in the 50-cent bin. Saga the Swamp Thing #9 with a great Tom Yates cover. Mm-hmm. Blue Beetle from the New 52 series #1, which I think is the first ongoing Jaime Reyes series, I think.
Nice. The kid from Cobra Kai is portraying Blue Beetle.
In the movie, yeah.
In
the movie. Oh. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, actually. I think he's a good actor.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
And I like the Blue Beetle character. And then I got another one that was a cover buy for me. Jerry Iger's all horror issue of Golden Features #1 from Blackthorn Publishing. Not #1, #5. From Blackthorn Publishing from October 1986. And it's a collection of what I presume to be public domain horror comic reprints. Pre-code stuff. Like we said in the last episode with Mike, none of us can afford the originals. So if you come across the reprints for 50 cents, then it only makes sense to pick them up if you have an interest in it.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. So that's a small sampling. I can keep going if you want.
You want to alternate a little bit?
Yeah, your turn.
I'll tell you. I don't have them with me in front of me, but I just remember what I bought. Uh-huh. One guy came with a dumb collection of dollar books, but it was all like 2 long boxes of Berserker, which I guess is that new IP for Netflix. Is the one with Keanu Reeves. But then his indie books were fun as hell, and but like recent indies like Image and like stuff like that. So I got Powers 1 and 2, mint condition. Like if I graded them, they'd be high grade.
You didn't have those already?
I did have.
Oh, you did. But you don't want to leave them there.
You don't want to leave them for $1. Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
Because people are not in the show tanked on Sony's on PlayStation Network. So nobody wanted them, so I got it for myself. I'll give them to somebody else, the extra copies.
Yeah.
I have the hardcovers for the whole run of Powers.
Because I know you've mentioned that book plenty of times in the past.
It's
a favorite,
so good.
right?
Yeah. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. Brian Michael Bendis, Michael Avon Oming, amazing work. Here, the book I got that made me laugh is I got a RoboCop book I never heard of called Prime Suspects, which I think is based on a cartoon the TV show on like syndication.
That's the Dark Horse series, right?
I might have been their first series.
Yeah.
Great artwork. Nobody I know on any of it. But then I was talking to some guy selling books there. He was asking me if I knew more about Terminator books, and he showed me his list of books he's trying to collect from Terminator. It's 90 issues.
That many? Well, you got to figure how many miniseries did Dark Horse do?
Bingo.
Right. That's
what he threw me off, and I was like, dude. He was like, I only have what's in blue. I was like, dude, you barely have not even 1/8 of this page covered in blue. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, they're so hard to get.
And the Now Comics run was at least 15, 20 issues.
Yeah.
Plus, there was the 5-issue one that Alex Ross drew very early.
Burning Earth.
Burning Earth. Thank you. Yeah. I couldn't remember the name of it. So there's probably 25 right there. Then there's the 2-issue Terminator 2 adaptation that Marvel did. And then, so you figure that's at 27. So after that, did Dark Horse do 65 or so Terminator issions?
Probably.
Including the crossovers?
Because there's 3 omnibuses out there from Dark Horse for just Terminator.
Yeah.
And this is a small fact for any listener. If you find any book with that says Alexander on it, that's Alex Ross's old signature. Mm-hmm. Because he wouldn't sign it Alex Ross like he does now. He would sign it as Alexander whatever Ross or just Alexander.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he only did it with the early issues.
Yeah.
So back to you. Which ones you got next?
Son of Hulk #1. I grabbed it because it's like on the hot list right now. Again, it's been sitting in that dollar bin for a while. It's a dirty copy, but I thought, well, something's happening with this book. For 50 cents, I'll pick it up and give it a read.
Yeah, hopefully his hairline is worked out in this one.
Hopefully. I got Rom, number 18. It's got an X-Men crossover with it. Wolverine on the cover.
What is the deal with Rom?
Rom.
No, Rom is cool, but
yeah.
What is it? A licensed hell?
So Rom, this is where my advanced age over you may come in handy on this podcast. Rom was a toy.
Okay, so was it owned by Hasbro?
It was owned by, I think it was Mattel.
Okay.
And so it was a toy. And so Marvel had to do the comic, but they brought Rom into the Marvel universe. So Marvel owns all the characters that are not Rom in that comic. But the guy who has the toy license, which I think is Mattel, still owns Rom. So the Rom stuff that Marvel did isn't going to be reprinted anytime soon. But then it got licensed to IDW, and IDW brought it back a few years ago. I never read those.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're any good or not. Rom, to me, is like an 80s property. I don't want new Rom. I just want to finish my old 80s Rom run. So it's interesting because, like, the X-Men appear in Rom. So if you're like an X-Men guy, you want to pick these books up. I read an issue of Rom last night. I don't remember the number. I bought it out of a 50-cent bin a couple of weeks ago because it had an awesome Bill Sienkiewicz cover on it. I opened it up, and Bill Sienkiewicz does the inking on most of it.
Okay.
And Nick Fury is in it. So, like, a lot of the Marvel characters cross over into Rom. And that issue tied into Secret Wars as well.
You know, that would mess you up as a Secret Wars fan for the completist. Because if you can't have that Rom book in any collection, you don't have it all then.
Right.
And now Beyonder might be played by Jonathan Majors anyway.
Yeah.
So for people who want complete, you're like, I'm missing Rom. Even though when you're holding it right now, it looks like a John Byrne type artwork on it.
I don't know who did the art on this. I'll open it.
But it looks so good. Looks like somebody, it's definitely the Chris Claremont looking run of that series.
Oh, it was Sal Buscema.
Oh, dude, even better.
Yeah, with Al Milgrom inking.
I just got an Al Milgrom book I'll tell you about later.
Yeah.
I love his stuff.
At any rate, yeah, I also know that the second appearance of Rogue is in Rom. I don't think it's this issue. I think it's the one before it. But, yeah, so there's some interesting keys there that X-Men fans should look out for.
Most definitely.
Also grabbed Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, number 8, from the Archie Horror line.
Oh, is that another Franco cover?
No, this is a variant covered by Matthew Southworth.
Cool, I've never seen that one.
I've never seen it either. It's very colorful. It's got this kind of weird silhouette of Sabrina's head, surrounded by pentagrams and hearts. And then inside her head, it's a bunch of vines and trees kind of constricting around herself. So it's a little ominous. But I always enjoy this series. I grabbed Jaguar God, number 1 from Verotik Press, which is a Glenn Danzig written publication with a Frank Frazetta cover, Frank Turan interiors. I've got 5 copies of it, so that's yours.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
It's got a little bit of water damage on it, but
I'm not going to lie to you.
It's a fun reader copy.
He's definitely a man that's been inspired by Richard Corbin. Like, his artwork, he always tries to get buxom ladies. It just, how do I say this? Every artist he gets is good, but it's not perfect.
You're talking about the guys Danzig works with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're all good artists, but they're, like, how do I say this? Not everything has to be painted. Penciling is what matters with some of this stuff.
He did a lot with Simon Bisley.
Yeah,
and
he's great.
I think he did some stuff with Liam Sharp, too, on the Death Dealer books. And then a lot of Frazetta. Yeah.
Frazetta?
Well, that was a Frazetta cover right there.
Yeah. But this one is normal painted, but you get it. Like, did you get the Dial Balik when he had come out, like, not too long ago?
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah, if I find it, I'll find it. I'll have plenty.
Okay.
Wow, you got a lot of those two-fisted tails he sees.
It's almost a run. So, yeah, again, while digging through the 50-cent bin at Con Comics, there were a bunch of the reprints of Two-Fisted Tales. So I managed to pick up issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 5. Oh, no, 4 was behind it. 4 and 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then on top of that, I got the new try saying that quickly. The new Two-Fisted Tales from Dark Horse, which Dark Horse did in conjunction with EC, so it is officially an EC book. Harvey Kurtzman edited it, so just like the originals, you get art from Don Lomax, from Spain, the underground artist, and someone named Wayne Van Sant, who's I'm not familiar with. And then they reprint a classic EC story by Harvey Kurtzman that William Gaines wrote. But it's got a new cover by Kurtzman and Will Eisner working on like a jam piece together. So check that out. Will Eisner and Harvey Kurtzman working on it together. Yeah.
Yeah, Will Eisner 91.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I'm going to assume Will Eisner inked Kurtzman on that.
Yeah.
Judging from the way it looks, but I don't know for sure. It could have been the other way around.
I think you're right because it doesn't look like his artwork, but it could be his inking.
Right.
Real quick before I forget, these books are the last to be reprinted. And it drives me a little bit crazy because I've been picking up all the EC reprints on trade paperback. but they're coming out as the hardcovers, and I don't remember Two Fisted Tales coming out until way later. So it might be one of the last trades I'm gonna get.
Well, it makes sense if they start with the horror and the science fiction first, because that's what's gonna sell.
Yeah. But dude, like every time I see somebody bring in or have in their house a collection of the hardcovers, I'm blown away. One, from the size, but two, that's amazing to have. You know what I mean? We can't ever get our hands on this Golden Age stuff as much as we wish we could.
No, EC originals, like, they're around. You see them at conventions all the time, but they've just gone through the roof in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they're brutal.
Yeah,
they're brutal. But hopefully, we get some more. I'm gonna just grab a small stack.
Yeah, do it.
I have so many. This one was a pickup from a local shop by here, which it looks like I got two of something that's gonna make everybody laugh. I got the DC Comics versus the Marvel Comics preview ballot, and it looks like there's more than one ballot, so I'll give you one. This is where you would vote who would win between Superman and Batman.
Oh, wow. I remember this from when I was a kid. This is so cool.
Yeah, I picked up a nice stack of books. Today was like all keys or oddball keys. And I remember this is right before they became Amalgam. I saw you got Dark Claw, right?
I did get Dark Claw today.
I saw that. Oh, it came with the little stickers?
Little trading cards inside.
Very nice.
Inside the ballot.
Let me make sure. Let me see if I got one. Because there was two of them in here. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, ooh. And then the next up book I got was one of these Justice League books that's like, I guess, a key. Yeah, they all come with it. You have two or one?
Yeah, I got it just says, see, I have to open it. It says Marvel Comics, The Century, The Winners. And then on the DC, it says The Battles. Oh, so it's flipped over.
Oh, no, mine just
The Battles of the Century, you decide the winners. And then the actual card that I got is Batman versus Captain America.
Same.
Yeah.
I got that one.
Okay.
But I got enough stuff where I'm here. I will find this again. I got one of these Justice League keys for their Crisis on Earth Prime. Oh, no, take a trade for the Bang
Oh,
Board.
sweet. Thank you.
This is another key book. I forget which one it is. It might be like the first appearance of the All-Star Squadron or something like that. This is number 208. This is an oddball one because every time I see it, I grab it and they go for $20. But for $1, you can't say no. I might be wrong on this one, but it might be like a key.
Can I see that?
Yeah, go ahead. See it on Key Collector.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up just out of curiosity. That cover looks super familiar to me.
Yeah. And then I picked up a Darwin Cook book called DC New Frontier. I've been a diehard fan of this guy's artwork for years. They made a cartoon out of it. Unfortunately, he's passed away, so it's like hard to read this without being a little sad. But did you get a chance to read from DC New Frontier?
No, I know I like Darwin Cook's work, but I don't know that book.
Well, what books have you read? Have you read Parker and all these?
Yeah, Parker's fantastic.
Yeah, what a great I think the writer of it was called an International Man of Mystery or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
it's like a big deal in the writers department.
Yeah, it's a really fun read.
Yeah, am I wrong on this one?
I'm still working on that.
Oh, all right, no problem. And then there's a book I don't know if you read it by Marc Waid and Barry Kitson called Empire. It's from 2003.
No, I don't know that book.
It's a DC book about this is a character who's just like Doctor Doom, and instead this is a Doom who won. He beat all the villains, and this is his empire, and how he keeps people in line. Marc Waid is a maniac. He's written everything. A lot of people get mad on him because of some of the arguments he's had with some of these lousy writers out there that put out real hateful stuff.
Yeah.
But Marc Waid is a guy who believes in what he writes. If he's gonna write good guy stuff, he's gonna say good guy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but Empire's from the view of the villain. It's like when people ask me if I read a book from the view of the vampire. You know what I mean? And the villain is this one. I've never seen issue 0.
Okay.
So I was happy to grab one.
Yeah. Going back to your Justice League book, it's the significance of this is it has a 16-page preview of Masters of the Universe in it.
Oh, awesome! I knew it was something. I keep forgetting. What does that go for? The high grade, $10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I was getting confused between this one and there's another one that's Firestorm joins the Justice League.
Right.
And there's another one where Hawkgirl joins it. It's around the same 205.
It's still I mean for $1, it's a great pickup for $1.
Yeah.
And Don Heck did the art inside it. Roy Thomas is listed as plot consultant, probably because they bring in the Justice Society and the All-Star Squadron, so they're playing with those Golden Age characters that Roy Thomas is the expert on.
Today I was actually kind of on a Roy Thomas kick looking for all his oddball shit. I was looking for Infinity Inc. When I pull it out, we'll go over it. But because that's all early works of guys like Todd McFarlane. You know?
Infinity Incorporated has a lot of early McFarlane in it.
Yeah, and another book I actually picked up, I don't know if you read this as a kid, Blue Devil.
I have the first issue of Blue Devil.
Yeah, I need his first appearance because this was a big book I would always find 5 for $1, so I read a lot of them. And I always try and double check. I don't know if there's another key. It's number 13 and 14 is first appearance of like Kid Devil, which is the same as Batman and Robin, but this is a nothing.
It's got Etrigan in it, so that's always fun.
Etrigan's great, but this is like a nothing issue. 52, I picked up an issue randomly because even though Black Adam was a big flop in the box office, all of these stories all revolve around him to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I love 52 as an idea when it came out because it was like, we're going to skip a year and then you got to like figure out what happened before. This is just another filler. I got the first Larfleeze from Green Lantern number 39.
All right.
That's what they call him, Agent Orange in the story. Somebody picked this up for me, so this is for another guy that I know collects this. Random Milgram cover.
Oh, nice, yeah. Black Suit Spider-Man.
Black Suit Spider-Man, where he blends in with the background with
that's
Lizard.
Spectacular 127.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a negative space cover, too.
I love his stuff like this, and it's not bad shape.
No, it's not.
And also I started finding some Howard the Duck covers.
For $1, any Howard the Duck. Any Howard the Duck for $1. From the original run?
Yeah, number 8. Number 26, where he's doing stand-up.
This number 8's got great Gene Colan art in it.
Yeah. Colan, and is it Klaus Johnson helping him with the artwork, I guess? Because I see
Steve Laiola is the inker.
No, but here on the bottom it says somebody else.
Yeah, not in this issue. Well, you're looking at issue 26. Yeah, that's got Colan and Jensen. Very cool.
And then I've been dying to get one of these books, a Detective Comics with a story written by Harlan Ellison, who's a science fiction writer.
Mm-hmm.
The man used to host a lot of TV, TV shows for comic books, and you can find on YouTube. Like, check out this comic book series, or like a history of comics. And I never knew who the hell Harlan Ellison was, but he seemed to have been like a lot of people loved him. So I was like, I have to get something. I saw him in the top. I grabbed this in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The rest of this oddball series I collect called Action Comics Weekly.
Oh, I remember those. I started buying those when it first went weekly. I remember that. I've just noticed the Alex Toth signature.
Did not know Alex Toth did covers for Action Comics Weekly. Black Hawk.
Did he do the Black Hawk story inside too?
I think so. If he's the one who did it on the cover, because it's not like a signed cover. Some of these, like, I have no idea who writes them, but I used to enjoy them because it's all different superheroes. Go ahead and open it.
Well, the cool thing, so when they put Black Hawk in Action Comics Weekly, I was buying it new off the rack. You were probably too young to be doing that. Mm-hmm. It was they put Black Hawk in it because Howard Chaykin had just done the Black Hawk 3-issue prestige format miniseries and brought Black Hawk back, and it was received well. And then there was a Black Hawk ongoing that ran for quite a few issues that also had some really nice art in it. And then after that, I guess they just kind of put him into Action Comics Weekly. But what I remember about Action Comics Weekly and being very excited about as a kid, and it's in here, was they put Wild Dog in there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on this other cover.
Yeah, nice. And I bought Wild Dog, the 4-issue miniseries, off the rack as a kid as well, and was really into it. Not a lot of other people were, but I was like, Wild Dog is great. And so when Wild Dog showed back up in Action Comics Weekly, it excited my 10-year-old, 12-year-old brain.
No, you don't have to put the plastic back on because I'm going to bring it downstairs to go through. This is the only books I collect from DC hardcore. I try to finish this one. I try to finish Dark Horse Presents. Action Comics Weekly is because of Secret 6 I got hooked on it.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know what they were. I thought it was cool. And another one is DC Comics Presents. This one's just a random Dr. Fate issue, but...
It's number 23?
Yeah. If you get a bunch of these, they all have different stuff, like the first Teen Titans, the first Mongol.
There's some good appearances in there.
First Masters of the Universe.
Who did the interior art on that?
This is a Denny O'Neil by Joe Staton.
Cool.
Denny O'Neil, what a brilliant man.
He was everywhere in the 70s and 80s, too.
Yeah, he did
High
everything.
output, and almost all of it was really good.
Yeah, dude, if you ever watch documentaries about him, he almost got, beat up in a deli. For when they found out he's the guy who wrote Batman, where they kill Robin. And he was like, "Oh, it's not Tim Drake. No, it's not Dick Grayson. I swear." And he the way he tells that story is always hilarious.
I was just reading a few issues of the Question series that he wrote just last night.
So good.
Yeah,
I got to get the omnibus of that one.
See, I thought about it. I thought about the omnibus, but I'm only missing like 8 or 9 issues from the run. So I'm like, I might as well just finish the run.
Oh, they have them at Gotham.
Yeah, they're around. They're around. You can find them in dollar bins.
Yeah, just the work. Mm-hmm. The work. Another Fantastic Four from Art Adams. Arthur Adams, I have a lot of stuff from him, but people keep finding these signed everywhere.
Really?
Because this issue of Fantastic Four 349 is always the one that gets signed, and the 348 where they're jumping out of like a plane or whatever.
This was the new Fantastic Four run where they replaced the Fantastic Four with, was it Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and the Hulk?
Yeah, but like Mr. Fix-It looking Hulk,
yeah, that was a fun read.
Yeah. And here's some random books I get for like some of the guys who pick up books from us. Venom, Separation Anxiety 2 and 3. where it has all the other symbiotes on it. And I don't know if anybody's a first appearance. I don't care. I just get it for people I know that collect it. I like Venom, but I'm an epic guy with that one.
Right.
Next up is Captain America for no reason perching on top of a building over an American flag.
Yeah, but it's
number
Mike
284.
Zeck. That's a Mike Zeck cover, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have the better Mike Zeck right underneath. And all of them are like got the worst glue on them.
Oh, the Deathlock issue.
Deathlock issue.
286. I got that one. Yep.
This is an upgrade for me because my covers are terribly bleached. They would always stay in front of a store. I love the Deathlock run. The only one I like more than this is when Wolverine versus Captain America. And he's like slashing
the metal shield with all the sparks coming off it. Yeah.
And here's what we were talking about earlier. You got the Batman. I got the Superman from Jim Lee.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And this is the run. And this is another one that really sold out. People were thinking it was like the next one coming. This was fucking terrible. This was a terrible... how good Hush was, this was terrible. All new characters, all new villains. Some of the worst shit I ever read in my life. A great cover from... Ali Shaw's from Justice League of America of
Justice. That's Society.
Justice Society of America.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Don't mix them up.
Yeah, I know,
People
right?
get mad.
This is a Black Adam cover where Mary Marvel becomes a Black Adam villain type character.
That's a really cool cover.
How cool is that cover? Yeah. And here's another Golden Age reprint I got of the Spirit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, these are great. Like they're a bit racist, but they're cool.
They are. They're very much a product of their time.
Yeah, what drives me nuts is like there's no advertisements in these. Because I think they didn't want to reprint them. Nowadays, the facsimile comes with even the ads.
Yes.
And then another one I got of a book I've always wanted to just get a hold of, All-Star issue number 3, the winter issue.
Okay.
And look how thick this is.
Yeah, these are the Millennium Edition reprints, right?
Yeah, like 2000. I see people selling for $10, and I'm like, I just want to read it.
They did a few of these. I have a Mad Magazine #1 Millennium Edition.
How cool are those?
Yeah, and I think I have a House of Secrets '92 Millennium Edition.
I saw people selling it for $30 yesterday. Ouch. Yeah, but they're all reprints. Thank God for the gold seal.
Yeah.
The 2000s seemed to be the best time for a lot of stuff they had reprinted because Will Eisner had a whole series of books redone.
Was that when the Spirit hardcovers started coming out?
I think the Spirit hardcovers have been coming out since the late 90s, but I can never get into them because there's not that many issues.
Did you ever read the Spirit Goes to Space story?
No, it's terrible. What is that?
No, it's not terrible. It's one of the best. It sounds terrible. Don't get me wrong. It sounds terrible. But Wally Wood did all the art.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
It's some of his nicest stuff. It's like up there with his EC work.
Really?
Yeah. So if you get a copy of the hardcover with the Spirit Goes to Space story in it, then definitely give that a read. I don't know if you're collecting those hardcovers or not.
No, I can't because
there's so many of them.
That's why I think they're up to 35.
Yeah.
I just saw the Hulk one came out to like 30 or 40 of them, but the Epic Collection has 12 issues, while they have like 8.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? Like, and it's nothing special other than the fact that it's a hardcover. You're paying extra.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I never saw them reprint 1 through 10.
There was in the 80s a graphic novel, like not a hardcover, but a paperback reprint of the Spirit in Space story. I don't remember who put it out. It's possible it was Kitchen Sink.
Probably. They're
or
the ones
Eclipse, one of those guys. Kitchen Sink was doing the single issues. Yeah. But at any rate, at one point I had 2 of them, so I sold one on eBay. And the guy who bought it, his name was E. Dorkin. And I was like, okay, this was back when you didn't have to go through PayPal and you didn't have to pay for everything online on eBay. So I messaged him. I said, "Are you Evan Dorkin, the same Evan Dorkin who does Milk and Cheese?" He wrote back. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, that's so cool. Instead of paying me for this book, would you do me a sketch instead, and I'll just send you the book?" And he went, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I figure I'm just going to get a little, little simple pencil sketch, and that'll be that. Well, a couple of weeks go by. I sent him the book, knowing it would take him a while to get around to it. Not a big deal. Trusted that he would send it. It did arrive, and it was a full-size comic book page with a fully inked piece of Milk and Cheese, like bursting through glass, holding like baseball bats with spikes in them and stuff. It said, "To Ian, you're next."
Bro.
And he inked the whole thing.
That's amazing. You know how jealous I am right now?
I'll show you a picture of it later.
Hell yeah. The reason I'm really jealous is that Evan Dorkin stopped doing Wizard World. And he made a big speech about it. A lot of people hated Wizard in the early 2000s, so you wouldn't get guys that you want to meet because of frustration with them. Nothing to do with Evan Dorkin, nothing to do with Frank Miller. Frank Miller was like the leader of that, like not liking dealing with Wizard.
Right.
And all these great guys I never got a chance to meet. I'm still waiting to meet him because he was doing Big Apple Con, but they haven't invited him back. I don't even think he lives that far. I think he's only from the tri-state area.
I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure.
The next up book I got is a bunch of what ifs. I got 2 what ifs that I've never seen before in my life. One of them is what if. It just says number 53 with 3 different stories. And it looks like if they killed each other. And and then the last book I got on here is What If the Avengers Had Fought Galactus? But it looks like the Avengers with not much powers. It looks like instead of the Fantastic Four, it's Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Giant Man and Wasp.
I feel like if those Avengers fought Galactus, they would lose.
Yeah, I feel like we've been eaten.
It would be a pretty short story.
Yeah, most definitely. We have a lot more comics, but we bought so much in the last 2 days that we're going to break this up a bit.
We are. We'll do the next episode will be what we bought this weekend, part 2.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're check out all your shops around you, between your thrift stores, your pawn shops, your comic vendors, and your local comic shows and comic book parties.
Comic book parties are important. You can have beer at comic book parties. And if you're in New York or near New York, Billy has something he wants to tell you about.
We have a Queens comic book party once a month during the year, and then during the summer months we're gonna have it twice a year. And if you're ever interested, just look up Queens Comic Party on Instagram or Facebook, and we will have dates and times and where we are located. And you're more than welcome. It's always free admission.
There you go. Let's sign off.
See you next time, folks.
Bye.
Bye.